Hi guys, it's Dave
And Ben.
and welcome back. Glad to be with you again. This is going to be the first of a new series, which we thought we're a bit late to the party on this. Don't know why we haven't already started this video series, but better late than never. It's called Fuze News.
Spelt the opposite way.
You'll see what we mean in a second. Quite proud of this one, I think.
Or potentially from the title.
We should put the title as normal spelling.
Okay.
It's going to throw people off. We'll keep it just in the programme. You'll see what we mean. But Fuze News is going to be a video series, shorter videos in which we just keep you guys up to date with what are the plans for the new updates, potential things going on, just kind of what's going on really, just to keep you all up to date and in the loop. And there are some really cool bits and bobs that I want to talk about. And this should be quite an interesting video dynamic because Ben here has been away for a little bit. We've had a bit of a quiet period, mainly because we've been working so hard on what I'm about to tell you about. But also, Ben, you went to Berlin.
Yes, I did go to Berlin.
Was it good?
It was very nice.
Fantastic. See the wall?
Yeah, I saw the bit of the wall. My flight got cancelled the first day, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, you got to spend some bonus time in London. Always a joy. Spend more time in London than you initially thought. So, what I'm getting at here is that Ben actually doesn't know a lot of what we're talking about right now. And because we're so good at these videos, we don't really rehearse them very much. We don't have a script. We just sort of let it go.
Because we used to. First few.
We did used to. Yeah, we had a really stringent script. But, you know, we figured it actually works better if we just go au naturel. I can't believe I've said that. But I have. So Ben is going to be reacting to some of this news, and I guess from his reaction you'll be able to see if it's worth being excited about or not. Hopefully you won't be like, all right, great. Cool.
Yeah, that's all right.
Tumbleweed, yeah. Bit late for that.
When we leaving?
We'll see. I've got you now forever, Ben. So let's just jump into this program that we've made earlier. I've got an overview of the Fuze News.
Fuze News.
Fuze News. Fuze News. Just to really bend everyone's heads around a brick there, a la Douglas Adams. And don't look too far down the page. I know it's all there. In fact, I'm just going to go like this so you can't see. Get rid of that. There we go. Have some control. And we'll just talk about each item on this list, what it means, and what's going on. So the first one, Ben, that I am very, very excited to bring to you is the Fuze Player. Now, this is something that we've been working on pretty much just non-stop for the last month or so, maybe more than that. And we will be working on that non-stop for the foreseeable future until it's all ready and we can get the approval and everything's all done and dusted and it's out. But the idea is that the Fuze Player is a new Fuze application separate to Fuze for Nintendo Switch, and there's a good reason for that, and I will let you in on why we chose to do it this way. I'm sure that you'll agree that it's a good decision. But we've always thought that one of the things that we really could do with is a free version of Fuze that you can get, which just gives you the games. So you can't edit code.
Okay.
You can't write code. You can't, do any of that stuff. You can't use all the amazing program sharing features and stuff. But in terms of just playing the games to see what it's capable of. So if you're thinking, yeah, I'd love to try this coding thing, but I don't know, maybe 13 quid is a little bit too much of an investment just on the off chance. I don't really know what it's capable of. You can go and get the Fuze Player, which is a free application,
and try it out.
See all the demo programs, see 3D Creator Shooter, Ninja Scroller, all this, all these different games that we've made. And if you like the look of those games, you will be able to read the code, however.
Okay.
So you can go through the editor and it'll all be nicely commented and stuff, so it'll explain what's going on, and you can think, I could give that a go, Why not just give it a try? You'll also be able to read the help content. So you'll be able to look at all the different tutorials and see, oh, okay, so it does help me along, and it's not just here's the deep end, no armbands, chuck you in, good luck, mate. We do help you along. So hopefully this will draw people to purchasing Fuze as a bit more of an impulse thing, because we also just had a massive price drop, and we are at £12.99. That is, it's £19.99 dollars, and I believe it's €15.99 or maybe €14.99. My conversion rates aren't
I've got no idea.
spot on. You've just been to Berlin, mate, so you should know. You should be like, yeah, that's €18,000, and we really, really got it wrong with that price point. The cool thing about the Fuze Player, I mean, that is all cool, but the coolest thing about the Fuze Player is that it also heralds the coming of, how am I going to say this? I've used the word heralds now.
Yeah.
It heralds the coming of...
That went over my head.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well,
Never heard that word.
we're introducing a new thing called the Fuze Showcase Gallery, which is going to be I want to say best of the best, but it's not. Like, I don't want to set the bar too high falsely. It's just, if you've made something really cool, it could be a full RPG game with full mechanics and everything, or it could just be like a little infinite runner. You know, nothing, it doesn't have to be complicated. There's no sort of benchmark of, oh, it has to have this many things going on. Just if it's a working game, it's got a title screen, it's got a score system, it's got a game over, submit it via Fuze Arena to our showcase gallery, and we'll take a look at it. Maybe get back in touch with you and say, oh, maybe this would need to change, this would need to change, you need some more comments here. And then that will go into this browsable gallery of programs that you can then download into the player. And that will be updated live, sort of maybe like weekly or fortnightly or monthly, depending on what the sort of, you know, on what the content feed is like. And they will feature all these awesome programs that you can then try out. So that's quite a cool idea, right?
Yeah, I like the sound.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of getting people to just go,
Yeah.
what's it? I mean, really, it's just a free games application. It will come with about 10 games that are all pre-done. A few of those are from people who have who have submitted their stuff to the showcase gallery on Fuze Arena, including Jay Walker, one of our favourites, who made Anime Ultra Hyper Jump. I've been chatting with Jay Walker. That is looking amazing, by the way, Ben. You need to see this game now. It's been improved and all this stuff.
I haven't seen it since last.
Oh, there's some amazing improvements made. It will have a few games in it already made by the community, a few games made by us. We're also working on some new games for that. Luke is working on something incredibly exciting for that. I will name drop the intended title. It's going to be something called Equinox 7274, which is a sci-fi themed sort of platformery. I'm not going to say anymore. It's cool. Okay. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it does sound sci-fi.
Yeah, it's not going to be like it's medieval with the name 7275. It's going to be really cool. So that's the idea.
Sounds like a good idea there.
Now, I want to just make sure that this is really clear. There's a reason why we chose not to do the Fuze Player as a demo version of Fuze, because that is also an option. You can, you can make this a demo version of Fuze, which gives you all this access, but then you can't edit the code and stuff, just like a normal game demo. However, if you do that, and you just if you go to the eShop and you do a search for games with demos, you are one in about 1,500 games, or 2,000 odd games. In terms of free applications on Nintendo Switch's eShop, there are 42, I think. So we'll be 1 in 42, which means that if you look for actual free applications, you will see us. So this is the idea. We want more coverage, we want more pull, and hopefully you guys are excited about it just like we are. We are working tirelessly on this, especially since we've had cancellations of workshops and all this stuff due to the virus outbreak and all the panic that way. But, this is when you're happy to be an internet-based software business in a small company. We're not actually that affected, and it will not stop us from working as hard as we can. So that's the Fuze Player. That explains the what and the why. The when, not really sure why I put this. Spelling mistakes intended there, by the way. The when is yet to be confirmed. I mean, this is how you spell the word.
Oh, player.
Oh, of course. Sorry, yeah. That's got an A-I-O.
Yeah. Player.
No, it's just player. Pronounced player.
Yeah, obvious.
Yeah, but now it's the correct spelling.
Or you have the American version that has double E on the end.
Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah.
But we're not American.
We're not American. We're British, and we're going to stick to the British spelling. Although
just a bit of recognition.
We could do the old English spelling,
which
is obviously the HQ at the end. Yeah, that's the it used to be the character R, which is I'm gonna stop now. I promise I'll stop now. See, there might be some kids out there who are watching this and are like, but hang on a YouTube video they told me that player is spelled like this, and then now they're going to write that.
Well, to be fair, English has a lot of difficult spellings.
It really does. I mean,
And
you've seen the word laugh? You having a laugh? Laug. I love to laug. So the when is to be confirmed. We are working incredibly hard, and it will be submitted, and then it is up to Nintendo to approve it at that point. But we'll keep you all abreast of the information, and just check out Fuze Arena for any updates. And you'll probably get a video too when that comes out, and we'll tell you about how to use it and all that stuff. So that's the Fuze Player. Let's just get rid of some of this space. When the Fuze Player comes out, just preceding that, there will be a patch to Fuze to bring it all up in line, so that then when the player comes out, it's built on that version of Fuze, so it includes all of these updates. And there are some really cool updates happening in the next version. First of all, I will talk about this one. It's the help improvements. It's not a massive change. This is just an update to how the help looks. And I noticed that there were a few inconsistencies in some of the help pages. There are a lot of help pages, and it's very hard to manage all those things. So it's natural that you're going to get the odd spelling mistake or that sort of thing. But I did notice a couple of pages that actually had some formatting errors in them that were a little bit lethal in terms of understanding them. So I've actually gone with a new help sort of format. I can actually show it off here. If we just go to the help, into command reference, and let's choose create sprite, for example. What you've now got is this in the arguments section. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully I'm not massively in your way. You've now got these delineated names for variables, all with their own little heading and box, and it tells you the type for each of those arguments or different properties. Create sprite, for instance, now details every single property returned by the function. And this is the same for all of these. And there's some more consistencies as well in the language used. So I don't know, we'll just go to circle. So you've got purpose description, and you've got a much easier to read way of seeing this. Now it also, the text will wrap a bit more neatly, and things now go to the start of the line. So I'm pretty happy with this. It should be a big improvement. And when I was doing this and doing the new format, I actually changed a few of the help pages too. I know that on the Arena there was a bit of a complaint about this one, Collide Sprites, and that is now all resolved, and it contains only super correct, really useful information. I have gone through and edited about 300 files to do this. It's taken me a long time, but mate, hopefully it will be appreciated, and I really hope that it's of more use to you guys. So that's number one. I should just say actually here that with this, this looks like a very short list. There are tons of bug fixes happening as well, but there's no point in detailing all of those in a YouTube video, because this would be much longer than our videos usually are, and they're already fairly long because I talk too much. But if it'll be like a list of like 100 bugs that are all fixed. So you will find details of all that in the change log when that patch comes out, and we'll be very transparent about all that information, of course. Sprite camera and set view. There's a command in Fuze called set view that I don't believe was being used to its full potential, and it's because actually there were a few inconsistencies with it. It's all been fixed. Set view allows you to set your own screen coordinates. So you can say, I want top left to be -1, I want bottom left to be 6, I want this one to be 1, and I want that to be something else entirely, and that allows you to use your complete own coordinate system. But the beautiful part is that as you dock and undock the console, set view doesn't affect that. So it will always display properly at native resolution, whether it's on 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080. Perfect display, whatever coordinates you want. And now the sprite camera works with that, and you'll be able to build whole sprite games using set view, and it is a massively powerful function. So we'll probably do a video on that actually, because I believe that it can be a bit confusing, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Just to comment on that, I've often been using the
set mode.
I've often used G width and G height for everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's a workaround.
It is. I mean, if you're always using G width and G height, then you don't have to worry because G width and G height changes all the time as you undock and dock the console. But if you want to avoid having to type out those functions again and again, and if you just find it easier to think about -1 to 1, -1 to 1, or even 1 minus 1, you can use whatever coordinate system you want now with SetView. Audio fixes and features. This sort of ties into a couple of bugs, and it was through one of these bugs where we discovered, oh, actually, something that we thought should happen doesn't happen, so we fixed the bug, and then that led to a whole load of improvements. So you used to be able to put a minus number in the speed setting of an audio play command, and you'd just get random sound effects. So that was the bug. Not a great one.
Okay.
That's been fixed. And now you can put a minus speed setting, and it will play backwards at that speed. So you can put -6 and you'll get backwards audio played 6 times faster. And I tell you, it's basically doubled all of my songs. Because honestly, nothing. Some of them sound good. Some of them even sound better backwards than forwards, which is not a great comment on me as a composer. Because it's a bit like, really, Dave? Okay, you can't even make a song sound as you want it going the normal way. It just happens to sound good backwards. It's really strange, but it's good fun, especially with the voices. There are some really silly ones. Yeah. Maybe we should just show off a couple of those at the end. I think it'd be a good laugh at the end of the video. Play audio, that's all good. I think that's about all there was. Oh yeah, there's also a fix to some. There's a little bit of distortion playing at the start of a couple of audio file. Well, any audio file, and it's really noticeable in a couple of programs. I was actually working around it by using a volume fade at the start. But if you just like play a piece of audio, you get this little bit of crackle, and that's all fixed. So now the buffer size I think has been increased, and it's just all sounds beautiful and smooth. Improved demo programs. I need to show Ben this one properly, really, because I'm quite happy with this. I've recently sort of really started to wrap my head around the save data file inside each Fuze project, which is just a string. But obviously, because it's a string, because this is code, you can read whatever you want and make it do whatever you want. Yeah. So if you've got like an RPG, that could be your inventory, your party, anything can be in this save data string. So right now I'm just using it with high scores. So now all of the Fuze demo programs that are stuff like 3D Crazy Shooter, Ninja Scroller, Asteroid Navigator, they have persistent high scores that you can work at beating. And then when you beat it, it saves it, and you can reset them very easily too. I might show a bit of that off. Asset folders is really nice. Really, really nice, Ben. Check this out. You go into mine, you've got folders.
Okay.
Big difference. Broken Vector, look at that. Beautiful. So no more going through 20,000 files just to find the one chess piece that you want. I mean, obviously the search would get around that as well, but this, I mean, they look really nice as well. Yeah. This is what I've been waiting for quite a while, and we're super, super happy to get this in there. Look at that scene there, the cliffs. That looks so good.
They all look good.
They really do, don't they? They're really nice.
I really like the Christmas one.
Oh yeah, that does look like something out of Banjo-Kazooie or something, like the Christmas level. Yeah, they're really well constructed. Really, really nice. Very attractive thumbnails there.
Does that change the name of the files?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of your assets, it's a very good question, Ben. Thank you for asking it. All of your assets in your games, all the load model, load image, load audio, nothing's any different, but they're all nice and in folders now, making them easier to find, but it's all the same. So you won't have to make a change for any of your programs in that regard. Now this next one will need a bit of an explanation. So there's this big speed increase happening to multi-dimensional array access. So if you have a 2, 3, 4-dimensional array and you're using loops to go over all of that and get information, Fuze used to struggle a little bit as you added dimensions, and it has increased a lot. And the increase in speed is actually sort of, it gets even more as you add more dimensions. Not as in it gets faster the more dimensions that you add, but the effect is more noticeable, you know what I mean? So this, I'm not sure if that's going to affect a lot of people. I know it doesn't really affect me too much because I tend to use separate single-dimensional arrays a lot. If I'm using something like a level or something, obviously that is a multi-dimensional array. But it depends on what sort of projects you're making. You might notice a huge increase in speed. you might not, but it is there. And this leads me into the biggest one. And this is sort of a bit of an announcement. I'm not sure if this will ruffle some feathers or not, but I think that you'll understand the reasoning for it. There's some new language features coming. Oh, I haven't written anything here, so it's this esoteric, mysterious new language features. Let's get rid of that keyboard. So new language features. Without going into too much detail, because for the majority of users, I believe, this really, you won't even notice a difference. There's going to be no difference. However, there was a bit of discussion on the way that Fuze is sort of intended to be versus what it currently is, and we discovered that there was something broken. There was an error, which was, no matter which way you wanted to do it, this was definitely not the way to do it. And it was that whenever you created a copy of an array or a structure or a string, and then you changed the copy, it actually also changed the original, which can be lethal in a program. So, if you did numbers equals, and then open brackets, 10, 10, 10, 10, and then you did numbers 2 equals numbers, and then numbers 2 element 0 is now a 1, it changes the original as well as the new. So that's broken. That is not good, because the copy should be a copy, not a reference to the original when you just create a copy. And it was in fixing this problem that we discovered that we actually may be missing something. Now, the first thing, it's hard to place where to sort of target this language towards, and I don't want to go too technical because I will get it wrong, and then everyone who is much better than me, of which there are a lot of people, will go, Dave, no, type, you got this wrong. But I'll do my best. So in coding, there is a difference in when you have a function. When you create your own function, you are passing values to that function, so parameters. You can, exactly, so you're passing parameters. Now those parameters are either passed by value or passed by reference, and the difference between those two things is that if it's a pass by value, it's a bit like just taking the number itself, just the number, and passing that to the function. If it's a reference, then you are actually taking a whole reference to that memory location. So if you change it in the function, it changes the actual variable or the actual array outside of it.
I think there are actually 3 stages to that, because you have the actual value, and then direct and indirect, which comes up in a different area in computer science, where you can have like a variable indicating a location, which is direct, or a variable indicating the location of the value that you want to use.
I see what you mean, and this is something that Fuze sort of circumnavigates quite a lot, because you don't have to declare, I want to allocate this much memory in this particular place for this variable, and it makes a lot of that stuff a lot easier by sort of circumnavigating. It does mean that you lose some control, but I mean, if you're going to sort of program in like C, that is all absolutely vital, isn't it? Like you need to declare this is this type, it's this much memory, the memory is here that I want to locate it in, and all this stuff. So because of these ways that Fuze makes a lot of things easier and provides these shortcuts, it's not immediately obvious. But we discovered that there are cases where you want both. Now, before, Fuze was doing neither properly. It was always passing by kind of value, kind of reference. It depended on what you were passing it. If it was an array, it was a reference, always. If it was a value, it was usually, like a normal variable, it was value. But we encountered some problems, and to fix it, we have added a new keyword, and that is ref. So now you'll be able to do things like this. Let's say we wanted a function to change the element of an array or something. We'll just call it change. And then here, I'm going to put ref list and maybe element and none. And then I could just return void, right? And then here, if I do list element equals none, this is now changing the actual thing we've passed to it. We've passed list as a reference. So when let's say I had an array numbers 1, 1, 1, right? If I pass this array numbers to my change function, right, this is now not really a local version of numbers. It's not a copy. This is a reference to the actual numbers array.
Okay, yes.
But if I do this, now it's not. Now we have this local version of the array. Okay, so this will unfortunately mean that some programs are going to break. Now, we have thought long and hard about this, and we came to the decision that in the cases where it is going to cause trouble in a program, the person who has made a program that does this sort of thing is probably competent, because you're using functions, passing things to them, returning things from them, and really it's just going to be a case of adding this when you want it. So it's not a big change that it's going to need. And I would like to say, if you encounter any problems with your code after this patch, get in touch with me on Fuze Arena, or if you use the Discord, then get in touch with me on Discord, and we will help you fix your code. Okay, we're not going to leave you in the dark about this. This is something, you know, it's a big change. It's a serious change. It's not going to impact a lot of people. It will impact some. We want to help you fix it and understand why, but it allows you to do more.
Yeah.
This is actually now more in line with sort of more modern languages. I mean, you know, most languages, most professional languages require this, either a reference or a value or whatever you want to pass it as. But Fuze is going to default to just passing by value with an option to specify passing by reference. I hope I've been clear in all of that. Last thing I will talk about as an addition to the language, and this has come from actually some showcase submissions in which I realized we're kind of missing something. So you know how in Fuze you can type a variable, as in, you know, float HP, int switch, right?
Yeah.
Or string name, right? I'm creating a type for that variable. Now Fuze is thankfully super lenient with types. It's not strict on the types. So I can do string name equals Dave, and then I can do name equals 4, and it's fine with that. It's not going to say, whoa, you said that was a string. 4 is not a string. Fuze is fine with this. Now, that means that you don't generally need to even type a variable. You don't have to add a type to a variable. However, when you do kind of need to do it, is in this sort of situation. Let's say that I've got a variable in my program x, and it's 50. Now that is a super common variable name. You might want to use x inside a function for something else. Locate, I don't know, right? And we could pass it x and a y, or we could pass it, you know, location 1, location 2, or whatever. I'll just put return void for now, and I could say, well, I want to make a function make a variable in this function just called x, and I want to do this. Let's say I'm just using it for anything. I could even say lock1 times equal, you know, plus equals x. This is a really abstract example, but just to get the point across, when I do this, I'm actually changing this global variable, right? Because it has the same name. So Fuze is going to say, okay, so you're redefining that variable x, because, you know, if it's global, if it's a global x variable, this now exists in all of the scope, in all the different functions that you've got. So when you do it here, you're changing the global. However, if you put a type before this, now you've actually just made a local copy of that variable, which means that you can use the same variable names again and again and again in different functions as long as you put a type before it. Because then Fuze says, oh, you want to create a variable. You're not just reassigning one. Now, the question then arises, well, you've got int, you've got string, you've got float, you've got vector, you've got array. But what if you're storing something like controls? What if you want to read the controls here? And you don't want to redefine C that is being used in your global program. Now, because Fuze doesn't care about your type, you could actually just put int, and it will work.
Okay.
But it's not really correct. It doesn't really make much sense. So what we've added is a new variable type called var, which everyone knows and loves. If you've got any experience programming in Python or C, or probably Java, HTML, a lot of languages use this generic variable type. So now you can use var to say, I want to create a variable type, and it's just a generic type. Doesn't matter what it's going to be used for. And as I say, the people that this will affect are not few and far between, because we actually have a lot of incredible programmers in our community. So I don't want to paint that in the wrong light. I'm sure that everyone understands exactly what I'm saying in this video, but if you're new to coding, if you're new to Fuze, and you're just watching this video thinking, oh, I'll check out what's new, don't worry about this so much. Just let it go over your head, and then when you've done some of the tutorials and you're familiar with these concepts like variables, functions, and stuff like that, then maybe come back to this video and watch it and think, oh, okay, and now I know what they're getting at. So just let it go over your head if it's a little bit, beyond you, but I doubt that it's going to be for most people. And I'm only really saying that because it's only just not been beyond me. So I'm always trying to catch up. So
I've been programming for a long time, and I don't think I've ever used var.
Really?
No.
There you go.
Never needed to.
To each their own.
Mm.
To each their own, always. I mean, to be honest, I can't really think of tons of examples where var is the correct type.
Yeah.
But hey, now you've got it. So happy days. And the reason, actually, one of the reasons we added it was because loads of people were using it in their programs. Now, this actually brings me on to the next point, and this will have to be the last thing that we do before we end the Fuze News episode, because it's already gone on way longer than I thought it would do, but that's part of the course. You used to be able to in Fuze. Now, Fuze is lenient, okay? Fuze is meant to not give you big errors for little things like, oh, I'm going to write, my program. I want a loop, I want my repeat, and I've got my update, and then I forgot to put an indentation. Fuze isn't going to give you an error for that. I'm just going to come down here so you can see. Fuze will not give you an error for this. Okay, and Fuze isn't case sensitive, so this doesn't have to be like this. This is still fine. Okay. However, there was one case in which things were happening where we thought, no, this is actually more confusing. Because Fuze wasn't checking for types, you could write anything as a type, which is why var was totally fine.
Okay.
People were using var and it didn't care. This was valid Fuze code. Yeah, because Fuze would say, oh, this must be a type. I'm not going to check what it is. You're making a variable called Dave, and it's equal to 3, right? This is actually confusing. And there are a lot of things in Fuze which do give you errors, which might be tough to figure out. This should give you an error, really. This is not valid code. It shouldn't be classed as valid code. So now that we've got the addition of var as a type, that covers all bases. You've got int, float, vector, array, string, var. I think that's all of them.
There are probably more.
There's probably loads more that I'm missing. Oh, and struct as well.
I've lost count of which one of these.
I think this is now 7 or 8. 7? I can't count my own fingers. But with var, you have everything that you need in terms of, I want to just make a generic type, and it's called this. So Fuze will now give you an error if you use an invalid type name. Not if you use the wrong type for a variable. So if I do string Dave equals 4, this will not give you an error because Fuze is type dynamic. It doesn't care about which types you're using. You can reclassify types and redefine things as much as you want. But if you go strong, or if you mistype string, right, this will now give you an error. So same thing applies as before. If this breaks your code and you find that your programs that you know and love now do not work, get in touch with us. Either leave a comment down below, I will reach out to you, we'll get some communication going over the arena, Discord, email, however it has to be. I will personally go through your program line by line and find the problem if I have to. We're not going to leave anybody in the dark, so please don't sit there thinking, how dare they add this big of a change to the language this late in the game. At some point, right, if you've got a problem with something and people are working around it, it's better to fix it sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that Fuze explodes in popularity and we get like 20,000, 30,000 users or something like that, more. millions. Better that we fix
Everyone
this
on the
now.
planet.
Yeah, every single person alive is using Fuze. Better that we fix this now than we have to do an update to 7 billion people, and that's a lot of programs. So this, I'm allowed to make this sort of promise where I say I will fix your code, help you fix your code, because I know that Fuze isn't humongous yet, and fingers crossed again, touch wood, everything, all that stuff done. Yeah, no mirrors broken, no ladders in the room, excellent. So we decided to do this sooner rather than later. This is a change that we think is necessary, and it will improve Fuze's capabilities. Okay, I think that about wraps it up for the video. We did say that we would just do something silly. So let's just load an audio file. Load audio. And there we go, into the old media there. And I'm going to search for evil. Bear with me. Please bear with me. Now, I will shout out my good friend Jared here, who was the person who actually helped me record these voice clips. Jared, if you're watching, nice one. And
you cannot succeed.
He's got some great.
Deeper. I will defeat you. No. Fall, feel my wrath.
Let's have feel my wrath. Okay, so let's make a little loop, update the screen and repeat, and we'll just play audio. So play audio, we'll play in channel 0, the file is SFX, the volume will go with 2, and pan first, we'll do it in the middle, speed 1, -1, we want just no loops. Okay, so we're going to play in channel 0, the file that we've loaded, volume of 2, middle of the stereo field, at normal speed just once. So
feel my wrath.
There you go. Now if I put a negative speed here,
that sounds like a cool language.
It sounds like a totally different language. Yeah. And you can put let's just hear it with normal. So stupid. And you can go minus 0.8 or something. So you could make some pretty cool effects with this. You could do all kinds of stuff. Maybe let's do one more actually. Not feel my wrath. Oh yeah, there's a new. Oh, I forgot to mention that. You've got multiple line string syntax highlighting. Because you can now structure strings across any amount of lines, put something at the end, and it's back to normal.
Very nice.
Might feature that actually in a video separately, but that is an important one to get across. So back into the old media, and we'll have. I'm not sure. Let's just go and grab any old thing here. Oh, maybe an animal sound.
Oh no, I've got one in mind.
Oh yeah. I am a little bit apprehensive, if I'm honest.
Is it not in this folder?
Oh no. But it'll be in this folder. What actual voice clip is it?
The silly sounds.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it won't be in this one. It'll be in sound effects.
So no, it won't be in that folder.
Yeah, no, sorry. Well, I didn't know what you were even talking about. So yeah, silly sounds. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, Ben. We'll have that one. This is what everyone came here for, let's be honest. This is what everyone wanted.
Yeah.
Ever wonder what a backwards fart sounds like? Let's see. Let's have nice, good volume for this. We'll go 3. Okay. Oh dear, this is highbrow stuff. Let's go backwards, slow. Oh dear. Okay. Right, that about sums it up and wraps it up, I think, for all of this. Have fun playing sounds backwards at any speed that you want. Try playing some of the music files backwards, because that is quite weird. It's quite an experience. We won't do it for this video because it's going to go on for even longer, and we're already over half an hour. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and we will be back with more Fuze news when it is applicable, and we'll keep you up to date with all the information on the player. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and check out the links down below for information on just Fuze in general, a link to the Fuze Arena where you can sign up and become a part of this community. And if you haven't got Fuze already, what are you doing? Get Fuze, start coding, and have fun. So,
try out the Fuze Player when it's available.
Good point, yeah. Actually bring in the whole product that I was talking about. When it's available, keep your eyes out for Fuze Player. Okay, check out the free section on the Fuze eShop. We will do a video when it comes out as well, and we'll probably just guide you through how to get it, downloading it, trying out a few of the games. Maybe we'll play some of the games for that. That'll be a good laugh. All right, guys, I hope that you are staying inside, playing lots of games, having a good time. Yeah, don't leave your house. Hope you're not breathing in too much, breathing out too much. Hope you're not too hot, too cold, too sad, or too happy. Or too full or too hungry. But you're just right. Just sailing down the middle of reality there, comfortable. I'm going to stop talking now, I promise. Okay, so thank you. Thanks so much, guys, for being with us again. I've been Dave.
And I've been Ben.
And we'll see you next time.